Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to do a quick video on some Southern biscuits, and we're going to start out with 2 cups of self-rising flour, which I have already put into a bowl here. And then we're going to use 4 tablespoons of butter. And what I do is unwrap the butter and lay it down. I'm using a cutting board today. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is do about 4 cuts this way, then we'll roll it over and do this side. Okay, so let's just make them thin. You want your butter to be pretty cold as well. It makes it easier to work with. And once you do that, you're going to turn it and then start slicing it this way. Okay, now we're just going to pick this up and drop it in with the flour. Just drop it right in. Okay, so what you're going to want to do now is just get in there, start breaking up those little pieces of butter into the flour. You don't want any of them sticking together. Now, you don't have to do it this way. I've just found it is the fastest and the easiest. You can always drop your butter in and use a pastry cutter and cut it up into the flour. Now, I bake my biscuits in an iron skillet, just like my mama did. But if you want to use some other type of pan, it's perfectly fine. You just want to put a little bit of oil or something in it to keep it from sticking. Okay, this is looking pretty good. I'm not feeling a lot of them still stuck together. You can also freeze your butter if you want to do that. Keep it in the freezer for when you're ready to use it in biscuits. I used to do that, but now I just take it straight from the fridge. You can also use regular milk or buttermilk on this. Either one's going to be okay. If you prefer a buttermilk biscuit and you don't have buttermilk, you can always add just a teaspoon or to a tablespoon of vinegar or lemon juice to your regular milk and let that sit for just a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds, and you'll get the same consistency as buttermilk. Okay, so we've got that. Now I'm going to grab the milk. We need a cup of milk. Okay, so right now we have 2 cups of flour, 4 tablespoons of butter, diced, combined into the flour. Now we're adding a cup of milk. To make sure these biscuits are no-fail, the key is not to overwork the dough. You literally just want to make sure all the flour and butter is wet. It took me years to realize overworking the dough was what was making my biscuits no good. So you can see it's getting nice and wet. Okay, now we're going to turn this out onto you can see it's just a nice wet dough. Now, I had some flour on my hands, but if it's too wet, you can always just pick up some flour, sprinkle on the top, okay? Keep it from sticking to you too bad. I'm just going to kind of round this up, press it out. Once we've got this kind of patted out here, and depending on if you like a really thick biscuit or a thin biscuit on how thin you want to pat it out. And as you can, maybe the camera's picking up, you can see little chunks of butter. That's a good thing. Now I do have a biscuit cutter here that I'm going to use. Get right over to the edge, push it straight down. Don't twist it. You can jiggle it a little back and forth or pull it, but you don't want to twist it. That can cause the biscuit to rise uneven. Okay, so I'm going to finish cutting these, get these over to a skillet. Now the other option, if you want to do it like your grandmothers did it, you would just take the dough, get a little more flour on there, and work it in your hands, but again, don't work it too much, guys. Get you a ball like that and just push it down. Nice little biscuit. Okay, so here's my pan of biscuits getting ready to go into the oven. And there they are, 425-degree oven preheated. We're going to let them cook for about 15 minutes and then we'll come check them. Alright, they're getting close. They're starting to brown. You can see where they've broken up a little bit and there's butter kind of bubbling there. Okay, so your biscuits are going to come out like this. They're going to have a little crispy top. I like to soften mine, and all you have to do is take butter and put all over the biscuits. And it's going to soften those tops. In the South, for breakfast, something very popular is biscuits and gravy. So we're going to go ahead and make some gravy as well. And I think I showed you this tip in one video. These are just these little plastic cups. I put 4 tablespoons of bacon grease in each one. After the bacon has fried and the grease is starting to cool enough, I fill those up and put them in the freezers because that's the perfect amount to make gravy. So as it's thawing out a little bit, it'll slide right out, and we're going to turn on the burner and let that start to melt. Again, that is 4 tablespoons of fat. You could also use 4 tablespoons of sausage grease, or 4 tablespoons of butter works great too. Okay, now that it is melted, I have measured out 4 tablespoons of flour. Just want to make a roux. That is, incorporate the flour into this grease. to let that cook just not even a minute, but long enough that it's absorbing that bacon grease flavor instead of we don't want it to taste like flour, you know. If you were doing this right in the pan where the bacon had come out, this would be the time you would be scraping the bottom to get some of the bacon bits into your gravy. Okay, now we want to measure out 2 cups of milk. And put it right in. Now we just want to stir to keep it from sticking to the bottom. You can salt and pepper if you like. I find when I use either salted butter or salty bacon grease that I don't need to add salt. If you like pepper, you would want to go ahead and put the pepper in. Okay, it took about 5 minutes on medium-high heat, and we're starting to see it thicken. Now, at this point, it's a personal taste, guys. Some people like their gravy thin, some like it really thick. So, one thing I would caution you, don't let it get too thick, because as it cools, it's also going to thicken. So, this is about what I like right here. It'll pour easily over scrambled eggs and biscuits if that's what you want. And then, like I said, it's going to continue to thicken as it sits.